Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome to an unusual video uh, and a video about the inauguration. It's unusual because it's just going to be a few pictures and voiceover, and because I'm having camera problems, and also to a certain extent because I wasn't sure I was going to make a video about the inauguration. And I thought, you've made these political videos all summer and fall long. You have to make one about the inauguration, otherwise you're not being true to what you said you're going to do with your channel. So if I could just real quickly address a few things about the inauguration, which moved me. Number one was the inauguration of Kamala Harris as Vice President of the United States, a woman of color, a woman of a multi-ethnic background, proving, I think, the strength of the United States is in our diversity, is in all the different threads that bring us all together and make us Americans. And that is the moment that was most emotional for me. Two, the amazing poem read and recited by Amanda Gorman pretty much said everything that I was feeling at that moment, caught it all, summed it up perfectly, and delivered brilliantly. How amazing she is. And it reminded me of how many amazing young people there are out there in this country and around the world. I also want to just kind of quickly address a couple things about why the inauguration yesterday seemed more meaningful. First, we pulled back from the brink of authoritarian government. President Trump's inspired mob attack on the Capitol, which was designed to stop the confirmation of a legitimate, freely held election, is proof that he would go to almost any length to hold on to power, including destroying our democracy, and it proved that there are probably millions of Americans who are okay with that. And the 81.2 million of us who voted for Joe Biden said, no, we're not going to go that direction. We're going to do something different. So a large part of my emotion was also the idea that we had kind of pulled back from the brink of disaster, that our democracy had been saved. I know that Joe Biden is not anyone's idea, or not anyone's, not a lot of people's idea of a perfect president or of a perfect candidate. I will tell you that for me, he is not nearly left enough. He is not progressive enough. There are many things that where he seems to hesitate, where I'm thinking, progressives have controlled the government for 2 years. Let's get some stuff done. And I hope that he goes ahead and moves further left. And let me encourage those of you who are further left than Joseph Biden, further left than myself, to push, pull, kick, fight to get him to move further left. That's your job. That's our job. At the same time, I think that we have to acknowledge that Biden is a step in the right direction, not just away from authoritarianism, but towards the idea that government can and should work for the people, that government can and should be there to help the American people, to solve our problems, to address the issues that face us. The one way in which I think Trump was fairly typical of a lot of people in the Republican Party today is his hatred of government, his belief that government only causes problems. And I think we see a difference with that in Biden. Can that go too far? Obviously it can. But I do have hope that Biden will be able to accomplish some of those things. And I think that Biden is committed to unifying the country. And I know that the forces on the right and some of the forces on the left will fight against that unification. But I believe that he can do that. And if he can't, then we are probably lost. But I believe that is necessary. But unification does not mean forgiving crimes and looking the other way at all the corruption and all the horror of the Trump administration. That has to be rooted out. That has to be exposed to the light. Those people who knowingly voted to overturn the results of a legitimate election, they have to be exposed. They have to be in some way held accountable, and they should have already begun to acknowledge that they were wrong, and that Biden was legitimately elected, and put this idea that the election was somehow stolen behind us, because not to do so will just mean that we're right back here 2 or 4 years from now. And I hope that isn't true. But I do see Biden's inauguration and his presidency as a reason to hope, as a as a reason to celebrate our pulling back from the brink of authoritarian destruction, as a reason to hope that we will finally get somebody competent to address the COVID pandemic, who will actually move heaven and earth to save lives instead of just sitting back and doing essentially nothing, which is what the Trump administration has done. You know, if we had handled the pandemic as well as Germany, for instance, hundreds of thousands of American lives would have been saved. More than 220,000 Americans would still be alive if Trump and the Trump administration had just done as good a job as Germany. That is a staggering thing. And we will find as we move further away from the Trump administration that he is acknowledged as clearly the worst president in the history of the United States. He sat back and let hundreds of thousands of Americans die. He inspired a riot designed to overturn our government. He was corrupt and authoritarian in everything he did, and he did not use the power of government to help the American people. And I hope that Joe Biden is the opposite. I won't expect miracles, but I will hope. Anyway, I'll leave a link to Amanda Gorman's poem down below, because it was brilliant, and it sums up everything I feel. Anyway, I just want to make sure I put something out there about the inauguration today. Look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.